everybody? It's your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama by way of Lolo, Glassboro, New Jersey. You know it right here on BlackCityRadio.com, baby. How y'all doing out there in them streets? You know, I'm coming to you. I know we got a lot going on right now, and I'm going to try to bring some shows that will give us some relief by good information. You know, finding good information right now, y'all, is critical. Whole lot of stuff out there that look real that really ain't. You know, a lot of people are getting into fear mongering, and there's a whole lot of that we need to be concerned about. You understand? However, karma, we can't just roll with everything that we see. We need to make sure that we're, dealing with credible sources, that we're doing our research, and just trying to plan our work and work our plan. You know, being fearful and moving out of fear is just not the best case scenario ever. But for those of us that are a little bit behind the ball, you know, we told y'all something was finna happen. You know, as a matter of fact, that orange thing told you to your face. I'm gonna be dictator, baby, on day one. You know, who wants to ignore that? Who wants to ignore Project 2025? If you ignored everything else that everybody else had to say about what was happening in America over this last decade plus, you know, what states gave you the letter? But so that you didn't believe that either? Okay, bottom line is we are where we are. And but I do want you to know that there is hope, that we have options, and that we have people out here that are making moves and taking advantage of those options and opportunities in order that they might continue to have a good life. Matter of fact, a better life than they have in the United States. That's something we gotta grasp. The United States is not the beginning and the end, baby. That's just what they want you to think. That's what, of course, the master gonna tell you, look here. You ain't trying to get them off this plantation because this is the best plantation around. You go out there, they're going to treat you bad, this and that. It's a lie. It's a lie. So all I'm saying is we need to look at things a little bit different. We need to change our attitude about information, and we need to start thinking about our kids, our grandkids, other people's kids, if you ain't got none, because we are really looking at generations and generations of decline unless we make some moves. Okay, so with that said, I ain't got time to sit and chit chat and smile, baby, because I got some amazing guests on the line with me today. Now, I got this couple, and they wrote a book, We Quit America, Our Exit from a Country Designed to Kill Black People. What they said, what they said. Yes, yes, indeed. I have Yanique Redwood and Ronnie Galvin on the line with me, and I'm so proud and honored to have you guys here. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for
Oh,
having
Charlotte.
us.
Yeah, thank you.
I'm so glad to have you. I'm so glad that you guys, you know, had the foresight to write this book. And I definitely want to get into it and find out, what you're sharing in the book and why we should be following this book and more. So let me go ahead, ladies first. Unique, go ahead and introduce yourself. Show us what you're working with.
Let's thank you, Charlotte. This is so phenomenal. And I can't wait to see you because we're coming to Panama in April. So I'm just letting you know right now, we will meet in person. Um
Absolutely phenomenal. I can't wait. I cannot wait.
so let's see. So I'm Yanique Redwood. I am an author, two-time author. My first book is White Women Cry and Call Me Angry, a Black woman's memoir on racism and philanthropy. It is about my experience, especially with white women, as I worked in the social sector, working on racial justice and the days and days and days and days of racial aggression that I experienced and how that weathered my body, how that impacted my mental health, and how I sought pleasure as a way to recover from that onslaught. So that's my first book. And my second book is the one that we're talking about today, We Quit America, with my husband and partner, Ronnie Galvin. I'll turn it over to you, Ronnie.
Thank you, Yanique, Dr. Yanique Alicia Redwood.
Yes, indeed.
Say the whole thing. She earned that degree. I was there at the end. She earned that degree. Charlotte, thank you so much. So my name is Ronnie Galvin, and technically, I don't flash this part of my identity often or explicitly. Reverend, actually, Ronnie Galvin, and grew up in Miami, Florida. And I think the one thing I'll say about myself that might be helpful for the audience is I love Black people, period.
Period.
We love Black people, period. Wherever we are on the planet or in other galaxies, wherever Blackness exists, we love it and love us. And the work that I've done and how I show up in the world, how we show up in the world, is really grounded in that love. Just professionally, I'm a facilitator and have my own kind of like enterprise that I call Communivation, where community and innovation meet. Working on, similar to Yanique, all kinds of issues related to racial equity, racial justice, most notably these days, doing some work in Washington, D.C. with a reparations coalition, and things of the like. But for me, what I do and how I show up begins and ends, and is grounded in a deep and profound love for Black people.
I like that. And I agree. And, I was on an interview yesterday, and me and the brother were talking about the diaspora, and how deep and wide, the diaspora is. And just imagine if we all got together, if we all could recognize our connections, how powerful that would be. And I love it when you say that you love Black people. That's it. I love Black people. I post that on my social media sometime. I say, I love Black people. That is all. That's what I say. Dot, dot, dot. That is all. I love Black people. Um, we have so much flavor and ingenuity. I like your words too. You got good words. What you call that thing? A communivation. What, baby? This brother got words, Yanique.
Yes, he loves to put words together. Some of them I don't quite agree with, but yeah, this one's good. I like communivation.
I'm learning so very much. So again, I'm glad to have you guys here. And where are you? Where are we talking from today? Where y'all at?
We are calling in from Montego Bay, Jamaica. It is a beautiful day.
Wow. So who has the backgrounds in Jamaica?
So I was born here. I was born in Kingston, Jamaica. Left with my family when I was about 10 years old. We moved to Florida. It was because my parents felt like they had bought the idea, which many people buy, right? That in America, in the United States of America, that's where you go, you try to get to if you want opportunity, right? Financial opportunity, career-wise, things like that. And my parents, even though they were doing pretty okay in Jamaica, they still felt like America was the place that their kids would do better than they did. And my mom will say this whenever I ask her, like, why again? Why did you do it? And she would say that when she moved to the United States, she drove around and was wondering, why did I leave home to come here? Right. So there's some loss or regret sometimes. But now we're here and she's here too. So yeah. I'm the one with the background here.
Okay, so that's important. We're gonna come back to that. And Ronnie, do you have a background in any other country? Where are your people from?
So I just want to say for the record, I have background in Jamaica too. So
Okay.
for a couple of reasons. One, I'm a child of the diaspora. And so wherever like Black people are, I'm at home there. And so one, I wasn't born here, I wasn't raised here, but I do have background in Jamaica, kind of spiritually as an African descended person who's all over the planet. Secondly, I married a Jamaican woman. And third, I am now also a Jamaican citizen. I got my Jamaican citizenship this year. And so
Wow.
my background is still new. It's still new, but I have a few months. We've been here for about 5 years, but I have officially become a Jamaican citizen. So my background is still unfolding and emerging. But to your question, so my mother's family uh, comes out of South Georgia. Uh,
Mhm.
my family there was enslaved there. And I was raised in Miami, Florida, in a working class, professional class, Black neighborhood where everybody's mama was everybody's mama. We had each other's back. There was a church on every corner. We left our doors unlocked. The elders had high expectations for the young people. The young people revered the elders. It was that kind of community. We were in each other's houses, so on and so forth. And it's part of the reason why I love Black people, because that community raised me, and wherever I am, I find myself trying to rebuild, reclaim, and amplify that experience of community. But my father's family is from the Cape Verde Islands, which is off the west coast of Africa.
California. Okay. Okay, I'm sorry. Cape
Cape
Verde.
Verde,
Where's that?
yeah, off the coast of West Africa. And most folks don't
Okay.
even know they exist because, of course, Africa is a humongous continent. But right off from like Senegal,
Senegal.
Ghana, right where the West Coast starts to turn, if you go out into the ocean on any map, no, most maps, because sometimes they actually leave it
Right,
off,
right,
right?
right.
There are these little dots in the middle of the ocean, right off the west coast of Africa, and that's Cape Verde. And it's an archipelago of islands, and it is a mixture of West Africans and Portuguese.
Mm.
So it was a stopping off point, outpost during the transatlantic slave trade, and so my father's family is Cape Verdean off the west coast of Africa.
Have you ever been there?
We're actually trying to figure that out now. We had a plan to actually try to get there before the pandemic, and that got disrupted. And so we're trying to figure out how we can grow money on trees to get there.
And just so you know, Cape Verdeans, they were whalers, right? Many whalers who then settled in the Massachusetts area
New
of the
England,
United States. Yeah.
yeah.
That is so interesting, and I like how you really like dug into the way you were raised and the community that you came from, because that's very important. It is. And I think that unfortunately we've lost a lot of that
Mhm.
is Black people in communities where when you're in other countries and they seem to be so specific about their history and their culture. And then, I find myself thinking as an African American, which is how I identify, um, exactly what is our culture? If we were to I bring people to Panama and show them the Afro-Panamanian culture and history. Can't wait till y'all get here.
Mhm.
Okay, if we were to bring people to the United States, what would we show them?
Mhm.
What would we show them? What would stand out with regard to our culture as
Mm-hmm.
African Americans?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, do you want to deal with that a little bit, or yeah, I think there are
You
many,
got
many.
words? You just said another one while you was talking. You got words. Come on with them words. Break it down
No,
for me.
I think there are many, many markers and anchors of African American culture that are historic, and also that are contemporary. One obvious one, me being clergy, that I would point to is Black religious traditions. and their interactions with community, and not just the religious part, but there's also a culture that is embedded in Black religious traditions that is around the music and around the dress and around the cadence of how we get together. And so that would be one place. There are still enclaves, fewer and fewer, of places where like Black folks either are living or have lived, or kind of like historical markers like DC, which used to be called Chocolate City, now it's Caramel Swirl, right? Or the South Side of Chicago.
Me with a milk.
Right. And so, there are places around the country that you could still claim, Atlanta, right, as kind of enclaves. But to your point, though, Charlotte, America is aggressively, intentionally extractive of Black people and Black culture. And I think at the same time, threatened by and enamored by Black people and Black culture. And so in moments, America, because of its coercive, extractive power, has done a really good job of either destroying or undermining Black culture or co-opting it. And so sometimes, to your point, sometimes it's hard to tell, well, where is Black culture and where does kind of American culture begin and end in the context of that? So I think it's tricky, and I think we have to train our eyes and avail our spirits to like see it and find it, and to build it going forward.
Yes, identify it, build it. And, Roland Martin is talking about strategy. We need to have strategy. So like when we're talking about what is our culture, our kids need to know something. We need to have something that we can tell them, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. This is what we've brought to this country. You know what I'm saying? In that regard, and say, to define it. That's my, what do you think, Dr. Yanique?
Well, the thing is, I mean, let's take books, right? We have a rich tradition of writing, a rich tradition of spelling out what we have been through in that country. And right now, what? They're trying to take that away. They are removing it from schools. They're banning books, right? And so it really is, I agree with you, up to us to make sure that young people understand that history, understand all of the beautiful things that we create, including writings.
Yeah, and I would also add, Charlotte, if I could,
go ahead,
that this acute moment of animus and hostility that we are seeing in places like the United States. And by the way, the anti-Blackness that we see in the United States, it happens everywhere, right? But the acute version of it that we're seeing in the United States in this moment could be, and I'm saying this very tentatively, it could be the kind of thing that turns more of us back to the culture.
Yes.
I mean, what was that old song that said, "You don't miss your water till your well runs dry"? Right. And so, it just sometimes, because I don't glorify adversity.
Right.
I don't glorify adversity. But there are moments when like you're looking around for something to hold on to. And it very well could be, as our people are maybe disoriented, the thing that re-emerges is who we are, and really reclaiming that and renaming that in a self-determined way. So that could be some grace that comes out of this moment of adversity, acute moment of adversity we find ourselves in.
I totally agree. And I said something the other day. I said, listen, if this don't kill us, it's going to make us stronger. And that is my prayer, that we would become stronger. There is something about Black History Month this year. It's like I just put the team together here in Panama. I said, we have got to do Black History Month. We have got to acknowledge that. I think that You know, a lot of us have taken it for granted, you know, haven't really gotten into it. But I think that, you know, I think we're going to emerge. And I also think that, you know, they say what you meant for my bad, you know, God is able to turn it to my good. Yes, yes,
Come on,
indeed.
preacher. Come on, preacher.
Baby,
What?
listen. Let me tell you something. If it wasn't for the Lord that was on my side, and I'll be honest with you, now is a time that people are going to turn back to God. People are going to turn back to God because guess what? You think about all of the, you know, GS 12, 13s over there in the diversity and inclusion departments of the federal government that was told the other day, look at here, y'all can leave. Y'all can leave. See, so for some of us, we have really decided that we're great on our own. You know what I mean? But right now, it's going to be a time that I know people who do not believe in God. I do. And I'm not being shady or anything, but I looked in my friend's eyes and I said, I never talk to you about because I'm not going to be, you know, conversating with atheists. You know, I'm not having those debates and things like that. You believe whatever you want to believe. I stand, I know where my house is, right? But I said, the difference between the fear in her eyes just brought me to tears. My goodness, I'm surprisingly gets emotion right now. And I said, the difference between you and me is that I know the Lord and I believe and I have faith that I'm going to be okay, that we're going to come through this, and that God is still in control, no matter what it looks like. For me to be in a position where I thought all I had was me, I'd be suicidal because there's nothing right now that I'm controlling. You know what I'm saying? On a big scale. So I said all that to say, I'll say one more thing. It came up about, you know, I think they're obsessed with us. You know, that the US is literally obsessed with us. And I will never take a Norwegian cruise. I'll say that right there. But I just went on a Norwegian cruise with about 24 other sisters. I do a women's retreat every year. This is our fifth anniversary, and we decided to do we went to Belize, baby. We ate, you know, fried fish over the wood burning pot. And you know, we went to the Sien Bite village, the fishing village. We was with the Garifuna people. We danced. It was amazing. I created a special tour. Of course, Norwegian didn't create that, but I created a special tour with black tour guides that I knew on the ground when we got to Belize, and the women got to experience that. But in addition to that, I set up a night of the Nubian Queen. And we all dressed in the most beautiful African attire that we could find in our house or buy buy from somebody. And when I tell you, them white people lost their minds up in there, up in there. They did. We are beautiful. They was trying not to say y'all are so beautiful. Some of them just said, "Oh my God, you guys are beautiful." They were taking pictures of us, they were taking videos of us, and I mean, just absolutely enamored. And I said, "This is not new. This is who we are." Period. You know, so they are very, very enamored with us. So let's talk about the book. So, first of all, let's get into how you all decided and when you decided to write this book. And y'all can tag team however you like on that.
Ooh. Okay, so this book, Ronnie, I would say started before last year, right? In our minds. We wanted to tell this story, but I don't know, life, you know, busy doing work, we didn't get around to it. But when we saw what was happening, when this was when Donald Trump was running against Biden, And we saw that Biden looked like, there was a little shakiness there. People were wondering about his capacity to lead. And it was like, oh, wait, Trump is about to win this election. We got to do something because it's going to be worse than the last time.
Yes.
And we need to say something so that people know they have options, right? You don't have to stay where you are born. You don't have to stay where you are raised. And so in June of 2024, we said, okay, we've got a few months before this election. Can we take what's been in our heart, what's been on our mind, what we have learned from another book called Quitting America, The Departure of a Black Man from His Native Land by Randall Robinson? Can we build on his legacy, that book that really informed our departure, and write something for today, write something for people who are going to be scrambling? And so we wrote this book in 3 months, day and night, night and day.
Remember, Black women erupted, and then the brothers saw what the Black women did, and the brothers erupted. And there was this moment where, and we were watching all this because we were already working on the book.
Yeah, we were writing.
Yeah, working on the book. Yeah. And we're watching this going, oh, wait a minute. This is how we say it in Miami. How we look introducing this book about quitting America while a Black woman, who, by the way, has Jamaican and Indian roots, right, is running for president. Are we going to be seen as like Debbie Downers, throwing water on the fire, so on and so forth? So we were like wrestling with this. And then we kind of worked, and we kind of knew this going into the book. It's a ideology that we held. Even if Kamala Harris became president, it was still going to be bad for Black people. And we actually, Yanique, should I say something about the titles that we were going to give the book?
Do you remember?
Yeah, it was something like Quitting America.
We quit. Oh, it was We Quit America, Our Exit During the Age of
Obama,
Trump, Biden
and Harris. In the case that Harris won.
Right. Like no matter who the president is, America is America.
Yes.
Right. And so here's the final punchline. And something that doesn't get talked a lot about as we've been traveling around the world, really talking about the book, is that the subtitle really drives home the point, right? Which is our exit from a country designed to kill Black people.
Mm-hmm.
And so we in the midst of all of that, and by the way, we were hoping Vice President Harris was going to win too, but we were convinced, given America's history and trajectory, it was not likely, but we were hopeful. We were convinced that we needed to write the book, and we needed to actually get the book out before the election. And I think we released the book on October 20th or something like that.
Yeah,
so a couple of weeks before the election.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's pretty amazing because everything was still in motion.
Mm-hmm.
Everything was still in motion. Quite frankly, I still held out hope. I did. I really did. And I'm not completely convinced that there wasn't something wrong with that election. I said what I said. Okay. I'm not completely convinced that Kamala lost, and especially the way that they said that she lost. I'm not convinced. However, unfortunately, Kamala's party is non-confrontational.
That's right.
Oh my goodness.
That I agree with. That's right.
I kept waiting for the Democrats to say, hold up, wait a minute, and it never happened.
Mm-hmm.
I waited like, oh my goodness, maybe they're going to do it on January 6th. Nothing. And even today, I just find them to be very silent right now. We are on our own, guys. Period. We are on our own. So that's how you decided to write the book. So let's get into some of the things that you share. in the book? What are like some of the points that you want to bring up and people to know about the book?
Yeah. Yeah, I can kick us off. I think one of the main things that we want to communicate is that even though the title says We Quit America, it's so definitive, right?
Mhm.
Quitting for us is on a spectrum, right? So everybody can't necessarily pick up and leave, right? But there are things that each one of us can do to quit America here, quit America in our minds, quit America in the ways in which it dictates for us what a good life is, right? So it says, okay, in order for you to have a good life, you have to buy a house with the mortgage instrument, right? That's like a classic American line that you have to somehow get a mortgage, and that's how you build equity, and all of these things will happen when you have a mortgage. But in many ways, a mortgage binds us. It makes
Yes.
us stay in jobs that are harmful because we need to pay that mortgage. There is a young woman we interviewed in the book. She lives in Chicago. And even though she has not left the United States, she's in the United States, she lives in Chicago. She believes that she has quit America. And that's because when she bought her home with her family, her husband, her kids, they bought a fixer-upper. She says it was in the hood. Nobody wanted to live there. The house was under $40,000 they had saved, and they bought that house cash, right? Less than $40,000, and slowly fixed it up so that they would not get a mortgage. So that is like something that she did to say, I'm not buying into this idea that in order for me to live a good life, I have to get a mortgage, right? And be strapped to a mortgage, and therefore strapped to jobs that don't work for me, that are harmful. The other thing she does is she plants, she gardens. She has a big, bountiful garden where they grow food for their family, right? So these are countercultural ideas, right? Like that you have to go to a grocery store, eat genetically modified foods, right? Not have access to fresh fruit and vegetables that don't have pesticides, you know? So she is on the part of the spectrum that, okay, I've stayed in the United States, but I'm quitting America in other ways. And then there are people like us who live elsewhere. We go back and forth. And then there are people who leave, like Randall Robinson did when he left to St. Kitts, never coming back. And so we talk about quitting as a spectrum. And so, no matter what your situation is, we want people to find themselves on that spectrum. Wherever you can start, get on that spectrum, because America is designed to kill us. It is not playing. And so, in order for us to survive, to thrive, we want people to get on that quitting spectrum. So that is one main thing that we take on in the book.
How you see things.
That's right.
You know,
That's
you
exactly
can,
right.
because you can quit. That's like people leaving the marriage and still there. Like, okay, well, yeah,
Right.
we married. I'm still
Right.
here, but I'm gone.
Right. Right.
I've checked out this situation
Right.
long time
Right.
ago. So
Or
that's it.
quiet
So it's like
quitting.
yes, quiet quitting. And we
Quiet
got to be
quitting.
more
Yep.
quiet. I'm glad you said quiet, because we've gotten so used to broadcasting,
Mm-hmm.
and we need to
Mm-hmm.
go back to moving in silence
Mm-hmm.
at
Mm-hmm.
this time. You know what I'm
Agreed.
saying? We need to take
Agreed.
some notes. So I get that part. Ronnie?
Yeah, I just would echo what Yanique is saying. There are two things that come to mind. One, that we try to push in the book as a theme that we want the readers to see. And then one, I think that we did not actually say explicitly, but I think it's there implicitly. So the first one is chapter 2. The title is America, the Sinking Ship.
Mm.
And we spend a lot of time talking about the Titanic. And we went back and we looked at that story about the Titanic. And the truth of the matter is that the Titanic did not sink because of the iceberg. The iceberg was doing what iceberg does. It was sitting there. The Titanic sank because of arrogance and the sense of invincibility that the people who designed it, built it, and who were sailing it had about the ship. And that same kind of thing exists for the designers of the United States, and also for the people who are there now leading it. There is this air of invincibility and permanence about the United States. There's this air of arrogance. We're the best thing, like we're unsinkable. But and America moves around like that. But the truth of the matter is every civilization that has ever existed, particularly the ones that are as destructive as the United States, they rise and they fall. And for ones that are as destructive as the United States, usually when they fall, it's like they go crashing and burning. And so we just wanted folks to see, or to just kind of like play with the idea that what would you do if you were on a sinking ship? And we, in the book, Charlotte, we use comedy to introduce each one of the chapters. We have this like vignette of a Black comedian who like is telling a story that's kind of related to the rest of the chapter. And one of my favorite is Cedric the Entertainer. If you haven't seen it, go to YouTube and type in Cedric the Entertainer running. And Cedric the Entertainer says something that, what's that?
We run.
We run.
Listen, look, we run for 100. We run.
Yeah. And so, and you know, and you know, Steve Harvey, who I don't really agree with his politics, but like he even tells a story like if Black folks would have been on the Titanic, wouldn't have been no waiting around. We'd have been like, let's go. Cool in the game would be like, unplug that amplifier. We got to get off this thing, right? And so we just wanted to plant that image because like all of us been socializing to this idea that America's unsinkable. So that's the first idea. The second one is that, you know, I think where people, to Yanique's point about the spectrum, where people might find themselves on the spectrum and how they move is directly related to what is your vision of freedom for yourself, for your family, for your people. And one of the things we talk about in the book is individualism, right? And if your idea of freedom is merely confined to yourself, then you're probably going to move in a particular way. But like we began saying, we love Black people wherever we are on this planet and whatever galaxy we might be in. For us, freedom is about all of us. And so it might look like I'm doing well, but if my neighbor isn't, then like, how does that cause me to move? And so the implicit kind of invitation in the book is to invite Black people to rethink, to exercise in a self-determined way, our own imaginations about what freedom looks like for us collectively, right? And I think we have been socialized into an Americanized version of what freedom should be and what it should look like. And when you really think about it, the concept of freedom that is in America really comes out of our oppressor's imagination. Why would we even consider the imagination for freedom that our oppressors have for us? And so we think we're in a moment where, again, we get to ask ourselves new or renewed and tough questions about what freedom means. And to the extent that we can dig into that work, it potentially moves us along the spectrum. And part of what we try to talk about and show in the book about our transition from the United States to here and what life is like here is like what that freedom actually looks like for us.
Just taking the time to, I think that so many people have never really asked themselves that question. And when you talk about, you know, I'm very candid in my testimony. I met my husband's parents. His mother is from Jamaica. Her people are from Jamaica. That's how he ended up in Panama. His father is from Barbados. His mother is from in Jamaica. And I God darn it, y'all, I forgot what I was getting ready to say.
That's okay. It'll come back.
It was gonna be good too. It was gonna be good. I can feel it.
I was thinking about my man, baby. Listen, I forget what I was going to say, but one thing that I was going to say is that, okay, what I say is, see, thank God I make little cheat notes when I'm thinking of something because I know I'm 60 and, you know, what I say all the time is peace is the new prosperity. Forget what you heard. Peace is the new prosperity. I don't care how much money you got. I really don't. If you waking up stressed and going to bed stressed, you're living in hell. You're living in hell. If every minute you're looking over your shoulder and your body is all tensed up and you're just worried about things and you're angry about stuff and you don't know who's doing what and can't trust nobody, that is just not a way to live. I'd rather have less money and more peace. The one thing about being in Panama is that when you come to Panama with even your U.S. retirement. I stopped calling ourselves us Americans too. We're North Americans. There's North Americans, South Americans, Central Americans. Forget what you heard. You know what I'm saying? We are North Americans. But when we come here with our U.S. retirements, our retirements are more monthly than a lot of Panamanian salary is. Right? However, we may have more money, but they got more peace. They got more peace. They happier. They happier people, and so you have that about it. And then even when you're talking about your book, when I think about how our culture shows up and being in places where you're not around a lot of, where everybody is not, from the United States, you start to hone in on different things where you connect with people from the United States. And the way I describe being in Panama is like, look, I love my Panamanian brothers and sisters, but I need to say, we run, and somebody get that. You know what I'm saying? I need to say, get my children out of here. You know what I'm saying? If somebody violated, the James Brown movie, I need to say, you've been knocked out, and I find that we connect a lot through the arts, that Black people and the culture, most of it surrounds around movies, dancing, singing, songs, so that is definitely one way we definitely connect, and we bring so much to the arts. We do. So, okay, so just to shift a little bit, let's talk about
Charlotte.
divest and invest.
Charlotte,
Yes,
can I
ma'am.
just say one more thing
Sure.
about that point? It's such a good point you just made about how we connect. We interviewed a lot of people who are in Playa del Carmen, Mexico for our book. And we went to visit them last month in December 2024. And I'm sure it's the same in Panama that Black people left the United States and have formed new communities. Man, I mean, I went to a double Dutch night. Ronnie went to a food truck night. There's a woman there who now has a food truck company, starting businesses, created this food truck night, Black folks coming out. I think it was a Thursday night. Like it was, we just bring our love for each other, our culture, the way we connect. It was beautiful. And so
Yes. Did you
we
guys
can
meet
create
Courtney
that.
Bowden?
Yes, we did.
Hello, that's my
We
girl.
did.
You
We
know,
did.
Absolutely.
and just the fact, I mean, just look at this. What I'm so excited about, y'all, is that I work all the time, and I don't complain about it because I love it. Okay, I love it. I work for myself, and I love it. But I And like I hope everybody have their notifications off because when I'm thinking about it, it's going. Okay, when I got the energy to move, that's it's gonna get done at that moment. So I'm hitting everybody up at 2 and 3 in the morning, and everything like that. But I tell you, the fact that we are on all these time zones, what?
Yes. Yes.
That is
Yes.
telling.
Oh, yes.
That is telling. Like, where you at, girl? Okay, well, I'm gonna be in Portugal. I'm gonna be in Mexico. I'm over here in Ghana. And
Thailand.
it's like it's 5 o'clock or it's a reasonable hour somewhere. Back in the day when we touched on whether you decide to stay or whether you decide to move. At the end of the day, it is your option.
That's
It is
right.
your option to do that. But we are pioneers. We are Harriets in our own
Mhm.
right, y'all. And the fact of the matter is that it used to be what's your area code, but now, baby, it's what's your time zone. Talk
That's
about
right.
options. You can
That's
live
right.
anywhere you want to live.
That's right. We've
You
been
can
talking
live
to folks
anywhere you want to live.
in Morocco, in Senegal.
Eh,
We interviewed somebody in Thailand, Kenya. I mean, we are making it work everywhere.
Yes, we are. And that is just, we need to be proud about that. That means that we are exercising our options. And, the United States leaves a lot to be desired, especially for us. However, we have definitely made some lemonade over there. Okay, we have. And that's what scares them so much is no matter how hard they try to oppress us, we continue to rise. And what really just tore the complete, ripped the U.S. completely of its senses was when that black man made it to the White House.
That's
That's
right.
where everything started to crumble. And
Yep.
where the things was, kind of on the low, because all the stuff they're trying to take away from us now, we ain't never had it anyway. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? We're constantly, being discriminated against and all that, but now they're
Hmm.
saying it's okay. Well, I mean, clearly it's been okay before. So
Hmm.
the thing about it is, we're going to be the ones that survive because that is in us. We've been surviving the whole time and we've
Hmm.
done a great job of it. But now we have survived and put ourselves in a position where we can take what we have earned and worked for and apply it to peace, prosperity, and happiness in our own lives.
That's right.
Okay,
That's
somewhere
right.
else.
That's
So
right.
let's talk about divest and invest.
Yeah, this is probably my favorite topic. There's a chapter in the book. It is called Divest to Invest, and we call it the math chapter. And we get a lot of questions that are about the how. How are you going to do it? Someone sent me a message on LinkedIn. I want the same lifestyle I have now, but I want it somewhere else. How do I do that? How am I going to pay my bills? It's a lot of how questions. And we, are of the mind that in order to answer those questions, you first have to reorient, right? There has to be a new way of thinking about your bills, thinking about, again, what America says is a good way to live. And so let's just take an example from our life. We had a home, our first home, we bought right after we got married in Atlanta. And we said we would never sell that house. Never. We would never sell that house. It was a cheap house. We bought it in 2007 or 8. And we said we would never sell it. So if the whole world fell apart, that's where we were going to go. And in 2020, when the world was indeed falling apart, we came to our home in Jamaica because we had already started transitioning. This was 2016 when we got this
Okay.
house here in Jamaica. We were already transitioning. And we said, okay, the world is falling apart. We have this house in the United States. Um, we don't see ourselves going back in the way that we have been. We don't see ourselves working full time anymore. How are we going to pay for this mortgage on this house? And so we made the decision to sell the house in Atlanta, the house that we said we would never sell. It was a struggle, right? But we said we would rather divest from the United States, right? Get rid of that property and invest here in Jamaica. So what we did, we sold that one and we paid this one off so that we no longer have a monthly mortgage. And
Yes.
you can't believe the relief that not having a monthly mortgage or payment is in terms of work. You can choose when to work, how much to work when you don't have that massive expense over your head. And we did this even though the realtor here said to us, you know, that this house here in Jamaica, because of the fluctuation of the dollar, right, compared to the US dollar, will likely lose value. So in the United States, we're taught what? You buy a house low, sell high. You got to make a profit. It's always profit driven. And so we had to make the decision to like get out of that race, right? And buy a home because it is a place where we want to be, not because it's going to make us money later on. It's a place we want to be. It's a place for our family. It's a place where we invite people to come and stay, writers, artists, organizers, anybody who just needs a break from the United States can come here without
Specialist.
any cost, without any cost, right? And so you're invited, right? So we had to make those decisions. And so part of that chapter is about rethinking, right, the rules that we have been sold and divesting from those rules and investing in a new life.
Yes.
And so that is what we mean by divest to invest.
So I wanted there's so much here and we can't get to it all. But what did you talk about the healthcare system here at all?
Well, the thing is, there's one person we interviewed in the book. She is in Mexico. And we asked her this question: how are you going to deal with healthcare? And she said, I'm going to deal with healthcare by being healthy. And it blew us away. Blew us away. I get to be healthier in Mexico. I get to walk more. I get to eat better food so that I won't have to rely on insurance and high cost medicines. I'm going to deal with healthcare by being healthy. And so we have a similar view, although we still, because of Ronnie, that's why I thought you might take it, Ronnie. Ronnie has some family history, right, with certain diseases. And so there's a part of us that's still holding on to some of the US based machines and medicines that we might need at some point. But we hope, we really do hope, because we have found wonderful doctors here in Jamaica, amazing doctors. We hope that one day we will let go, again, divest from the healthcare system in the US and get all of our healthcare either in Jamaica or even other places, other countries that have better systems than the United States. We know that the United States health system it's a sick system. It is not a healthcare system. It is a sick system, right? The food that we eat there makes you sick. The stress makes you sick. All the drugs they, are peddling make you sick. Like, it is a sick system. And so we hope that one day we too will take on this posture that we deal with healthcare by being healthy, right? That is what our goal is.
That right there is a mouthful. And when you're talking about divest, that is something that I think we need to reconsider, because all we know is that if I get sick and I don't have insurance, I'm probably going to die in the house.
That's right.
Okay.
That's right.
Um, but medical services don't cost like that other
That's
places.
right.
So I
That's
say
right.
everything you know about the United States, forget about it. You
That's
do
right.
need to do your due diligence
Mm-hmm.
and know what the healthcare system is like, where you're going.
Mm-hmm.
Also, be aware of age discrimination. There are
Mm-hmm.
some policies that, as of now, I guess some are still intact, that
Mm-hmm.
prohibits you from discriminating against people about for age. It's like buying a mortgage here. It's like 70, 75 tops. You ain't coming here old buying a mortgage. Not you gotta have life insurance on it and all things like that. But if you didn't have insurance in the US and somebody said you need an MRI, you'd be like, I'm gonna die. I'm gonna
Exactly.
die. Because you ain't gonna have the
Exactly.
money.
Right.
But
Yeah.
here it's much more affordable. So I'm
Absolutely.
saying divest that idea that you can't afford it. We have an Afro-Panamanian doctor on our team. And I mean, this brother has branched out on his own since we started this program here. Left his partners, went out on his own, and over 90% of his clientele is Black expats in Panama.
Mm.
And the thing that's so awesome about it is that he is not peddling drugs. He is an
Mm.
MD. He can prescribe drugs to you whenever you need them, but it is never his first, inclination.
Exactly.
He gonna ask the next question.
Mm-hmm. That's
Okay,
right.
he is not incentivized
That's
like
right.
the healthcare providers in the United States to sell us drugs. And so
Exactly.
he gonna say, okay, what are you eating? How much are you moving? How are you sleeping?
Mm-hmm.
Those kinds of things. So it's a whole different world than where you come
It
from.
is. It is. Absolutely. And the thing is, um, my background is in public health. And so there's something we say in public health. If you are healthy and you want to stay healthy, then be outside the United States. But if you are sick, if you are desperately sick, then the United States has the drugs for you. But if you want to stay healthy and not get sick, it's not the United States.
No.
That's a sickness producing country.
Well, let me just add this real quick, and then I want y'all to tell us, any parting words and how we can find you guys. And they definitely will come looking for you in Panama. So I'm excited about that. But I would just tell you to your face that people that come on my tour, I take a lot of photos. And what I've been noticing and what I've been showing people, I said, look how you look now. They look so much younger. I'm like, you're living in Panama for 6 months and you've taken 20 years off of yourself, it seems. And it is. They're moving more, their brains are active. We're trying to learn Spanish. We're learning
Mhm.
new ways to get to different places. We're eating good food.
Yep.
We might be drinking a little too much liquor, but you know what I'm saying. We try. Our doctor said, okay, I'm gonna need for y'all to have more activities where it ain't so much eating and drinking. So, but we're happy. The stress is a killer. I don't know how they determined in 1980, whatever, that my mother was diagnosed with cancer, that her cancer was brought on by stress. I still
Wow.
don't know
Yeah.
how they
Mhm.
decided that, but I've never
Mhm.
forgotten it.
Mhm.
And anyway, another story. But anyway, tell us, any parting words and how we can find you and how we can support your work.
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you again, Charlotte, for the opportunity to be on your show, and looking forward to seeing you in Panama. One final thing I want to say, as y'all were talking about, Charlotte, I love this. It's no longer what your area code is, what time zone you're in. I love that. What's your time zone? Um, as we think about like where this book, and by the way, other kind of efforts to like present quitting and moving to our people, right? How those all begin to link. There are two things going on with us. So right now, we launched in January a study and book group, so that we can kind of do what we're doing right here. Like we can get deeper into the concepts and the ideas that we're presenting in the book, invite space and time for people to consider where they are on the quitting spectrum, and to build some kind of mutual support, reciprocity, and accountability for folks who actually want to move to get make these moves together. And so part of what we hope this book and other kind of activities that are trying to provoke our people into this space, we're hoping to like incite more movement around quitting and people like revisioning what freedom is to them, and if necessary, leaving the United States. To that point, you talked about different time zones. We're already all over the world. And Yanique and I are exploring right now how we just did this in Mexico, we want to do this in other places. How can we visit the places where Black folks have quit to and are setting up places where they can kind of live out their vision for freedom? And how we can start to not just create places for ourselves, but also build the infrastructure for other people who will soon be making the decision to get out. And if you go back think about how people who come to the United States, who migrate to the United States, that's how they migrate. They find their people in the United States and they go live in those communities, right? And so we want to what would it look like for us to reverse that and to do that all over the world? Accra and Addis Ababa and Johannesburg and Panama and,
Mexico and Colombia.
Mexico, right? How do we start to connect those places and build that infrastructure now so that it's easier, so people don't have to think about it as hard, and the move isn't as heavy and difficult for when more and more people want to make that exodus, because things are only going to get worse in the United States because it is designed to do that. And so, just a parting word, we are looking for people, partners, places, resources to help animate that vision and to build that infrastructure with Black people all over the world.
My heart is just jumping because you just described what I did here in Panama. Mm-hmm. When you guys come, you will see. You can come to Panama on any given day and just be surrounded by love and support because of Black expats in Panama. And we're moving into Colombia. We're hoping to have our first cultural relocation tour in Colombia this July. Okay, that's where we're finalizing things now, because exactly what you just said. That is just what an awesome concept. Let me say one more thing though. We have been able to use technology to connect. One thing COVID did was definitely connect us technologically. Mm-hmm. But you know something? I have a book club, Black Girls Think and Grow Rich. Me and my co-host have had this book club for 7 years. And one of my friends was on it the other day. She said, but you know something? How do you feel when people come into the book club and it's their first time and they never show their face? Mm-hmm. We got to get more selective and careful about who we letting in the room.
That's right.
I said, you are so right. I said, because just think about it. We have to start thinking about these spaces that we create as real rooms. And if you going to let some joker you don't know roll up to your meeting with a mask on, I don't think so. If you're going to be in this meeting, I need to see your face. Even if I see your face and you turn your camera off afterwards, everybody needs to identify themselves. That's just something we need to think about going forward in putting these groups together, because I think what you are talking about is magnificent. I'm going to turn this over to Yanique, but I got to say something. I'm saying, I have been looking at Ronnie. And I say, he reminds me of somebody. I just can't put my finger on it. Will Smith. Get that
He
time.
does get that.
My God, I
all
think
the
you
time.
even sound like him. I was like, daggone it, that ain't Will Smith.
He gets that all the
Man,
time.
It was worse when I had hair. It was worse when I had hair. Yeah.
oh,
Wow.
look, you'd be over in Jamaica, someone, look, I ain't slapped nobody. That's who it
Charlotte.
is. And that's a compliment, by the way. That's how I feel about Will sometimes. He's a handsome man. Um, Unique.
Charlotte, this has been such a joy. And let me tell you, I know two people personally in my life who have been on your tour
Wow.
and have made the decision. One has already bought a condo in Panama, and one is making the move this year. And so
Good
I am
man.
just so grateful for your work.
Wow.
It is diligent work. I know it's hard work, but you're doing the work to show people that we have options. And so I'm grateful for you. Grateful for what you're doing. Grateful for this opportunity. And just want to say, if people want to find our book, it is not on you know where. I'm not even going to say it. You can find it on wequitamerica.com. It's the only place you can get a digital copy or a copy mailed to you, wequitamerica.com.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's the direction we need to go to as well. You know, and we need some we need to do some crowdfunding or something, you know, because I think one of the things that people struggle with in not supporting other things is that what do we have to replace it? So we got to start getting into the habit of going directly to the website. You know, I mean, that other company has just made it so easy and convenient.
Exactly.
But you know something? Go directly to their website. That's what's up. Thank you so very much. This has been such an amazing conversation. I'm excited about the work that you're doing. I'm excited about seeing you in April. And I just thank you so much for taking time to be with us today.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you for
Charlotte. And
having us.
when we come, save some of that brown liquor. We tell the doctor we're gonna have a sip of that brown liquor.
That's a little taste. When my mama used to say, "Little taste," we gonna have a taste. What
Yeah,
they
we have a
call
taste.
it,
We have
a
a taste.
taste. Talk about culture, right?
Right.
I'm looking forward to seeing y'all then. Thank you for
All
being with
right.
me.
Take care. Bye-bye.
My goodness. Like I say, you know what? My guests are amazing. That was just an amazing conversation. And I'm so grateful for them to spend the time with us. Looking forward to having them visit Panama in April and stay tuned for more information because we're going to have like a book signing discussion type situation. And so we're going to put together something really nice for them when they come through. And so we're deciding on the date now. So with all that said, I hope that that was some helpful information for you. Please do go out and get their book at their website. Like they said, I'll put everything down in the content section. And I just want to thank everybody for being here with us today. Okay, so with that said, we're going to close out with The Greatest Love of All by Whitney Houston, which was one of the songs that they selected as their favorites. And I want to thank my main man, Daryl Spears, Elite Conversation Podcast Media, for doing this thing and putting my radio show and podcast together. I also want to give a shout out, as always, to Devin and Riley at blacksedradio.com for allowing us the opportunity to put our voices out in the world, baby. Yes, it is so important. Right now, y'all, you know, coming together, making those connections in the diaspora is so important. We have work to do. And so we definitely want to we're gonna have to move in silence sometimes. We're gonna have to make sure that we know who is in the room. sometimes. Things are changing, and that's all right because we're going to be okay. We adapt. We adapt and we conquer. We are going to be okay. So, with that said, follow me everywhere, Black Expats in Panama. And until the next time, I love you. I love you. I love you. And there's just nothing that you can do about it. This is your girl, Charlotte Van Horn, Black Expats in Panama, by way of Little Old Glassboro, New Jersey, right here, baby, on BlackSitRadio.com. I'll see y'all next time. Ciao. Peace and love.